Hey, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. So I got my teeth fixed. I'm happy. Oh, they look so much better. It's a little, who would have known? Who would have thought a cracked tooth can make so much of a difference? Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about my experience at the dentist office that made me feel really uncomfortable, and I keep thinking about the situation. It's like, I wish I said more. I wish I could still call the dentist and tell him what happened, but I don't know. I feel like if he's really like that, then he will one day talk to the wrong person who is gonna put him in his place, or, you know, tell somebody. So this was an emergency dental appointment, and I really don't have help here in Florida. I am doing it all by myself. I don't have like a bunch of people I can call, especially so last minute. You know, I wasn't expecting my teeth to break. So in my head, I'm like, it's a dentist's office. I'm just gonna leave the baby in the room with me. I figured I'd just bring the baby with me. My mom sent me the phone number, and I guess it was an emergency line straight to the dentist himself. And he was like, call the office and have them schedule you for an appointment today. It's an emergency appointment. I was like, okay. So I called and I was like, hey, can I come in? My tooth broke. And she was like, re-broke. And she was like, oh, we can schedule you next week. And I'm like, no, I want to, like, you don't have anything else closer? My teeth is broken, it's exposed, it's like, feels weird. She's like, okay, come in today. So she said, come in at 3. I was like, okay. So that was in a couple hours. The one person that I really could have to call, she was busy, and I didn't really think of it as a big deal. So I told her on the phone too, oh, there's a wait. I'm like, what's the wait? Because I have my 3-month-old with me. And she was like, oh, about 15-20 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So then I go to the dentist's office, and we're sitting there waiting, and the lady at the front is like, oh, so sweet. And the dental assistant calls me to get seen. So I'm walking with the baby. He's like, oh, no, you can't bring him. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't know that. My bad. And he was like, put him by next to the lady at the front desk. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that he'd be sitting here with you, but also he's a great baby. He just ate. He was, you know, whatever. So now the dentist's office is closed, and we are the only ones there, me and the baby. So he was like, you don't have a babysitter? And I'm like, if I had a babysitter, he'd be with him. And he was like, oh, let me take my grandpa voice away. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, let me get rid of my grandpa voice. And I'm like, I started getting like hot, you know. I'm like, I'm confused at what you're saying. Are you saying my kid's a problem because he's just sitting out there? And he was like, oh, no, I wasn't saying that. I'm like, what are you saying? And he was like, well, because of the virus. Okay. And I'm like, well, me being in the dentist's office and then going home to him is kind of the same thing as him being with me, right? And he was like, no. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, where's the dad at? Does that matter? I'm like, he's in Tampa right now. And he was like, what about your mom and your dad? My mom's living in New York, and my dad's at work. You don't have any friends? My one friend is dealing with her child right now, taking care of her kid. This is an emergency. This was a random, I was not expecting to come to the dentist's office today. And he was like, what about the dad's family? Where's their grandma and grandpa? They don't live in this country. Oh, what about? And I'm like, he's like, you know, you should just have like a plan A, plan B, plan C. And I'm like, I get that, but like I said, this was an emergency. I wasn't expecting to come into the dentist's office like right away. I didn't have anybody to call. I have to go to the grocery store by myself. He's like, oh, I'm just concerned about the safety of the baby. Well, how do I know? If you're so concerned about the safety of the baby, if that's really what it was, you don't know if the person I left him off with was doing something random last night or was with 100 people last night. You don't know. So how are you so concerned about the safety of your baby when it's just me and him? Like, this is a big dentist office. I'm the only patient. So me taking him to the dentist's office is safer in a way than me taking him to the grocery store, which is filled with people. You know, it's like, I don't know. It was just very caught off guard, just very in my business about the kid. And then he was like, you could tell he was making me feel uncomfortable because he was like, oh, you know, like I used to be a teacher, and, you know, I would have students that would come in and say like, oh, I have to watch my kid or something. At the end of the day, you don't know anybody's situation at all. So for me to be sitting here paying to get my teeth fixed And my son, who is sleeping over there, which that's between me and the lady at the front desk, that I had to say thank you to her, because I wasn't expecting her to have to sit there and watch the kid, even though it was something like small. Like, that's not her job, but she did it, and I'm thankful that it was no problems with that. Like, I thought I was coming in having the baby next to me. I didn't know he couldn't go in the room with me. So if I'm coming in there for you to do a service to me, and you're making me feel uncomfortable in a place of business because you're questioning me about why my kid's here and I don't have a babysitter, and you're concerned about the coronavirus and this with my kid. I just saw a 5-year-old out there. Did you say the same thing to the mom who asked why their 5-year-old was out here? I'm pretty sure you didn't, but you see me looking like a single mom, and you're gonna sit here and question me. Like, we already have it hard enough doing it on our own. Why would you make me feel uncomfortable? Especially if I'm only gonna be here for a short amount of time. You know, it's like, you could have asked me, oh, how's he doing? How old is he? What's his name? Oh my God, you know, you had to ask about my business. He was like, oh, what school are you in? I don't like that. Why do you automatically assume I'm in school? I'm not in school, actually. Oh, so what's your profession? I'm working hospitality, and I'm trying to start a YouTube channel. Oh, okay. Is this what you come to work to do? Like, question me and judge me and belittle me? And then when I left, you can tell it wasn't the right kind of conversation, and he tried to cover it up. So he was like, and of course he did this all while the actual dentist was working on somebody else. This was just me and him in the room, and he never said anything like this when the dentist was around. So when the dentist left again after he was done with my tooth, he came to me and was like, so put this in your YouTube channel. I said, oh, my experience in the dentist's office? He was like, no, having a plan A, plan B. Thank you. Because I walked out there feeling like just so uncomfortable. Like, at the end of the day, you have no idea what somebody's going through. And to sit there in a chair while I'm just trying to get my tooth fixed, it blows my mind how people, you know, I don't know, it wasn't cool. And I thought about it when I got home, and I called my mom and my friends, and I was like, this is just what happened. Like, am I tripping, or was that like really weird for him to just like make me feel that way? And they were just like, no, that's weird. All their faces were like, as I was telling the story, they're like, what? So in the moment, I think everything was like happening so fast, and I was already thankful for the lady to watch him, that I wasn't trying to be like, and they had taken me after they had closed, so I wasn't trying to start anything. And I don't know, I just felt like I should have said a little bit more, but the fact that he knew that I was uncomfortable, I think, was enough for him to like, I don't know, hopefully, like, I don't know. So yeah, it's my, people just be mindful, you know, before you open your mouth. Really think about what you say or how it would make somebody feel, because that just made me feel weird. That was my little TED Talk. Is that what a TED Talk is? Bye.